Welcome back. Kovacs report. Very late. Not going to get into it, but we're here. We're here as usual. Jimmy
We
X.
are back.
We're back. It's been stressful, but we're here. Okay.
Yes,
so this is the books that came out last Wednesday, which we're reviewing today when all the new books come out. So sorry about that. Okay, spoiler show. We're going to tell you everything that happened. Read them if you got them. Let's get straight into it with Mr. Poole.
Yes, Deadpool issue 6, published by Marvel, written by Cody Ziegler, with art by Roger Antonio and cover art by Turin Clark. So in the last epic issue of Deadpool, the Merc with a Mouth, with the help of his formerly estranged daughter Ellie and Tony Masters, aka Taskmaster, they triumphed over new foe Death Grip, but he lost an arm and an leg in the process, as well as his patented healing factor. So this issue picks up at Deadpool's HQ, and a newly wheel-bound Wade Wilson tells his team it's time to get back into the boutique mercenary business again. Taskmaster then tells Ellie her dad's not fit to fight in his condition, and Wade quips, "Well, I've always wanted to be the guy in the chair. Plus, we need a B story to cut to during set pieces." He also tells Ellie that he's taking orders from Tony as he's sending her out for field work, which she's overjoyed about. And with her symbiont dog sister Princess, Stone asks, Princess is equally excited about this. And Deadpool bestows Ellie with her very own version of his costume, complete with a hood, and it has a little Taskmaster symbol on the shoulder. Because, as Taskmaster puts it, you're not doing moves I trained you to do out there without advertising for me. At the end of the day, he is a mercenary.
He is, isn't he?
Ellie is briefed on her first mission is to steal a suitcase from a bunch of Russian mobsters. And her dad tells her, "No killing. I don't want you putting anybody in the ground this time." Adding that the daggers that he's given her are actually non-lethal blunted shock daggers. Cut to the mission now. Ellie and Princess leap into action while Taskmaster watches from a surveillance van nearby, that old trope. She attacks with the daggers, and true to his word, they emit a non-lethal electric current, incapacitating the target. More gunman attack, John Wick style. Princess shields her sister as only a huge red wolf beast can, before one of them hammers her with the sonic cannon. And he complains there's only one charge in this cannon before Princess retaliates. And she and Ellie win the battle to praise from Taskmaster. Via video call, Deadpool is also equally overjoyed with his daughter's progress and proud. Before, unfortunately, Death Grip ruins his celebration. He wasn't as dead as they thought he was. He just manifests in the HQ. So Wade shoots him using his good hand. But Death Grip, let's not forget, he's absorbed Maramusa into his body, so he is a living sword. And he uses his hand just to slice off Deadpool's other hand. And
you don't sound very excited by this, Jim. I can tell.
Done. He's not done, and he hits Wade again with even more lethal blast like we saw last issue. The issue ends with Deadpool dead on the floor, gasping his final words, "Not like this." This was okay. This is the first issue in this new arc. Now, you might have heard that Ellie is replacing Deadpool not going to be forever, obviously.
No.
But Ellie and Taskmaster are going to be the sort of focus of the book for the foreseeable future, I think.
God knows why.
And it was all right. It wasn't as good as the last arc, unfortunately. I like Cody Ziegler, though. I thought his writing was good. He's also a writer for Rick and Morty and Futurama.
That's true.
Know that, so that's good.
A bit of a thumbs down, would you say?
I mean, I'll pick up the next issue and see how this new direction goes. But I mean, obviously Deadpool's sticking around because they announced the Deadpool Wolverine ongoing with Benjamin Percy for next year. So I'm looking forward to that, definitely.
All right then. Okay, so I could make loads of DP jokes because guess what? We got double Deadpool Venom War, which I think you asked me to read against my better judgment. Dragged me into it. Okay.
Cullen Bunn.
I know it's Cullen Bunn, I know. He's not too bad, old Cullen Bunn. So from Marvel, Cullen Bunn writing and art by Roberto Di Salvo. Okay, Deadpool is slicing and dicing zombie oats in Times Square. His pet wolf dog daughter, Princess, turns up with Silence, who's another hero, to help out. as the fight continues, the symbiote swarm gets bigger and bigger. They discover a group of baddies trying to get into a bus full of like kids, right? Which is parked out a circus, Big Top, in Times Square. Just happens to be a circus, Big Top, in Times Square, with a busload of kids. Anyway, I don't know. They rush over to help as a zombiote elephant escapes the circus, and Silence heads off. It's so bad for the kids as Deadpool takes on this zombified symbiotic elephant, who then gets joined by a zombified symbiotic lion. Naturally, all the school kids are infected with symbiotes, so Silence gives them anti-venom to revert them back to normal. After that, Deadpool loses an arm, the kids get reinfected, they all make a run for it and escape into the sewers and head towards his ex-wife, Schickler's domain, the Monster Metropolis. I don't know if you read it way back.
Yeah.
Okay. So he decides he can earn a little cash while he's there. And after meeting Manphibian, the Mummy, Frankenstein, Morbius, and Man-Thing, who happen to be down there, they are monsters after all, he enlists the help from a trampy-looking bloke, all right, who's living in Monstropolis, whatever it's called, as the zombies invade the city. And it's Deadpool's fault that the zombies are here. So the zombiotes infect the monsters, becoming, I don't know, monbiotes. I don't know what the term is, right? And then Deadpool tells the trampy-looking dude to start helping out, and he transforms into Poison, another hero, villain, anti-hero. It looks a cross between a white symbiote and Wolverine. That was it. Really, I didn't really find it funny. I didn't really enjoy it. I was glad when it was over. I'm not going to spend much more time on it than that, I'm afraid. Yeah, not great. Sorry, mate. You look just as disappointed as I was. Moving on. X-Men.
Yeah, X-Men's Jed MacKay's run on X-Men rumbles on. So X-Men issue 4, published by Marvel, written by Jed MacKay, not by Ryan Stegman this time. Fill-in artist Netho Diaz, and cover art obviously is Ryan Stegman as well there.
Does he draw the mutants like they're 12-year-olds, or is he changed
he does not.
style? Oh, good.
He does not. Previously on X-Men, Cyclops' team of X-Men post-Bacra, they've been operating out of a former Sentinel factory in Alaska, come into conflict with a team of post-puberty activated mutants called the Fourth School, as well as a government agent called Lundquist, who's made bringing Scott Summers down his top priority. He's leaked a video of Scott liaising with Ben, who's another late activated mutant, and he's spun it into a huge story about a mutant contagion. The issue starts with Illyana Rasputin, aka Magic, playing chess with their opponent's moves being sent to her via text message by someone we don't know who it is. Before team member Temper, who's always lurking around in the background in this book, alerts her to a broadcast from Trevor Fitzroy of the Upstarts. Who is on his YouTube channel, I guess. He's stoking the flames of anti-mutant sentiment, telling the audience, "You hate mutants, don't you? I'm a mutant that wants to be loved and adored. How would you like it if the Upstarts and I stopped this contagion, killed these new mutants, and live streamed it straight to your phone? You'd love that, wouldn't you? You'd like and subscribe." After this, Cyclops tells the X-Men that Fitzroy messed up by not obscuring his location, so it's off to Detroit to stop them. Plus, the team are 2 members short, as Kid Omega and Psylocke are busy performing a psychic rescue. Yes, they used that term. They invoked new X-Men. We're going to find more about that next issue, if I pick it up. So it's just the 3 of them. It's the 3 of them: Juggernaut, Temper, and Magic. No Marauder. That's a yacht jet thing either. So Beast is going to go with them, but he really protests about being taken away from his important, mysterious work. So Magic, being field captain, tells him it's what he signed up for, not Rogue and her shanty team. And then, and I hate this line, she tells him to X-Man up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So as Scott gives her the thumbs up behind Beast's back, like he approves of what she's doing. You're making a good captain, Magic, like that. It's like they get to Detroit. and the Upstarts are terrorizing other mutants in the streets, and as promised, live streaming it. And when they arrive, the X-Men engage them in battle. Fitzroy, being a teleporter and time manipulator, he pulls an erupting volcano, that's Mount Etna. He pulls that eruption from 2013. That was pretty cool. Juggernaut attacks the upstart known as Orbit. All the other Upstarts are names with the letter O, starting with the letter O. So Orbit uses his gravity-based powers to bamboozle and subdue the human as he slips on multicolored rubber balls. So there's Juggernaut just slipping around on these bouncy balls.
Yeah, because
it's
because
he wouldn't crush them underfoot.
No, because he's not like 800 pounds, is he? Like giant Juggernaut in his name.
Anyway,
well, I might as well put a banana there, to be honest, right?
Another Upstart, his name is Orifice. He's able to significantly bother Beast. And Temper manages to locate the late activated mutant and offers their help to her. Meanwhile, Orifice is confused by Juggernaut's presence on the team. Why are you helping them? You're not a mutant. And Jogs reports with, he retorts with, as long as I wear this X on my head, because he's got the X across his head, you can see in that picture there. As long as I wear this X on my head, I'll make this my business. It's not a symbol to me, it's a crosshair. So anyone who wants to take a shot at me has to look me in the eyes when they take it. Beast takes down this furry Upstart counterpart, Ocelot. It's another O.
Oh, no.
Fitzroy realizes he's lost his quarry and teleports the team out of the battle. Cut to the base and we learn that their mysterious benefactor is grotesque Age of Apocalypse era baddie, the Sugar Man. Because we were all clamoring for his return.
I can't wait.
If you've not read Age of Apocalypse, he ran the slave pens for the mutants, Mr. Sinister in the Age of Apocalypse reality. And he ended up coming back after the event ended because comics. So Fitzroy says, I can get you any mutant you want. Krakoa's over. They're all scattered and easy to pick off. Sugarman says, it's only the new ones I'm interested in. Someone's cracked the X gene. And they're making mutants out of flat scans, which is a racist term for mutants used for humans. And the Sugar Man wants a taste. Meanwhile, the X-Men return to their factory again, with Beast reporting to Cyclops that the new mutants with them now, and their name is Jennifer Starkey, for whatever that means to you. They've put her in new quarters, but they're starting to run out of space. Cyclops muses will have to reclaim more of the factory and make it livable. So they haven't really taken over the whole factory yet, by the sounds of it.
The Airbnb description was wrong then.
And the issue ends with the last page reveal, which was probably a QR code originally again. But Ilyana's unseen chess partner. You want to take a guess who Ilyana's unseen chess partner is?
No, I'm that uninterested. No? Just have to tell me.
Ilyana Rasputin?
No,
it's
can't.
Colossus. Oh. It's her brother Colossus, yeah. So I'm going to keep following X-Men, only because there's a crossover with Uncanny X-Men coming in December. That's the sole reason.
Ooh, okay. Thumbs down
just
then.
So I want to see. I like the characters, and I want to see how they interact with Rogue's team, who I am absolutely adoring, with Gail Simone's role on the title.
This is another show first. Jimmy's 2 for 2 in the shit can. Ooh. Right. I wore my T-shirt for this one. I wore my Gatchaman T-shirt because we got more Gatchaman. Galactor number 2 from Mad Cave. Steve Orlando. And some art by, this time, Kath Lobo. Right. I love Gatchaman. So we catch up with Bert Katzy, right? He's the leader. I love it. Leader of the evil Galactor forces, right? After he just murdered an assassin from the Lupo Mafia crime family, right? Who tried to poison him in issue 1. As a little backstory, many, many years ago, Galactor formed an alliance with the Lupo family to gain a foothold and some power on Earth, after which Berg murdered all of them, or so he thought. Now, into issue 2. As Berg talks with Leader X, right, he's like the ruler of Galactor and his boss, total shithead. Leader X, as usual, belittles him for his failure for not having complete control of the Earth yet and not ending the lives of the Gatchaman. If truth be told, Berg is worried. He's worried about the growing dissent amongst the ranks of the Galactor army, and he's concerned about the Lupo family. All right? He's concerned about them because he thinks there's more spies in his midst. So he summons all the forces for like an inspection parade type thing, where he gives his speech where he perpetuates this brainwashing of the troops, telling them they're here to save humanity from itself, and he reinforces his ruthless leadership by showing the mask of the traitor, all bloodied up, who he murdered, remember? And he reminds everyone in the room that any one of them could be a traitor. So this causes a bit of paranoia amongst the ranks, and he witnesses the men talking while in another one of his disguises as the janitor, because he's the master of disguise, remember? Which again is key to the original series, the animation. It's also good to mention now that he is also a mutant, right? And this is a secret that is kept from everyone except Leader X, right? And it'd be good for the baddies if that secret became public knowledge, and not good for him. So he goes back to investigating who he thinks traitors are, and he narrows it down to 4 suspects. But he's convinced that those 4 alone could not outsmart him. Remember, he's a super mutant genius, right? There must be a ringleader, right? And he wants to discover who that mysterious person is. So we cut to a mansion out in some farmland. It's the home of Mr. Canis, who is in fact Don Lupo, the now adult son of the former head of the Lupo family, who, as I mentioned earlier, was betrayed and murdered by Berg. Right, so he and Carlo, one of his employees, discuss the failure of the recent assassination plot and attempt, and decide they need to play dirty, right, to outsmart Berg, because he's super genius. They've got all of Galactor's base under surveillance, basically. Right, all except the septic system. I go back, I think. Berg has the whole Galactor base surveilled while he's trying to figure out who's a dirty traitor, except the septic system, right? And that's how the Lupo family move messages back and forth to their spies. But what he does know, right, is that he's got to do a bit more of tricking these people into revealing the details. Anyway, the Lupo family, they know that Berg is nervous now, right? Because they've got plenty of moles throughout the organization, including Don Lupo's younger sister. Now, Don Lupo knows Berg is a mutant, knows his secret, that he is a freak of nature created by 2 embryos merging together, right? And that is something that they can exploit. So that's the plan. Back to Berg, and he's murdered one of the 4 suspects in order to spook the other traitors, sort of get them to reveal themselves, and also to send a message to everyone else. We move to some of the troops making repairs to a Galactor-like vehicle. And after a back and forth, one of them attacks the other and reveals it's actually Berg in disguise again, master of disguise. So he's found another traitor, and he demands this traitor reveals who the other assassins are. But the Lupo spy tells him that every spy is unaware of the other, right? And they'll keep coming for him until they get him. So next on Berg's list is one of the all-female elite assassins, one of the Devil Stars, right? So he meets her on the flight deck under the ruse of a ship inspection. But Berg wastes no time telling her he knows she's a spy, right? And due to his respect for her, he's facing her 1-to-1, right? Anyway, after a short back and forth, she moves at this super speed, gets up close and personal, shoots him point blank in the stomach. And as he falls to the ground, she unmasks, revealing herself to be Skywolf, a mutant fused in utero by not 2 embryos, not 2, not like bloody Berg, but 3. And she spent her entire life working towards this moment. Now, as she makes her escape in a jet, Berg is bleeding out on the deck. End issue. Oh, wow. This book was great. I really enjoyed it. Super, super fun.
Cool.
I love what Orlando's done with this. And he's really building more and more faith in me as the ultimate Gatchaman fan. Right? So it's super important that this gets better and better for me. And it really, really is. I really recommended it. I didn't think I was going to like it, I'll be honest. But it was really good fun. Really, really good fun.
Nice.
Right. Back into Absolute Power, Jim. Jimmy, the event guy X.
Yeah, it's the final tie-in to Absolute Power in the Superman book. Superman issue 18, published by DC, written by Joshua Williamson. Can't wait for his G.I. Joe. Can't say that enough. With art and cover art by Jamal Campbell. And apparently it's Jamal Campbell's last issue, unfortunately, because he's a great artist. So last time was Superman. Following the events of Absolute Power, and now depowered Superman and Zatanna are on a quest to recruit allies by finding the map to the Dark Roads. Following the trail to the magic users haunt the Oblivion Bar, the new god returned, Neron, and he revealed he has the map, offering them a literal deal with the devil.
Mm.
As the issue starts, it's basically a montage of flashbacks to unfortunate previous conflicts with magic users that Clark has. He reminds us, I hate magic. Uh, so at the Oblivion Bar, they sit and drink non-alcoholic beverages, of course.
Of course. Big Boy Scout.
With Neron, who's playing against type, and he reveals he doesn't want their souls as a bargain. Clark's is too pure, and he pretty much owns the Zatanna's already. He wants something much more precious. He wants the Man of Steel to lie for him.
Ooh.
Zatanna protests, but Soups shakes his hand, saying, "You've got a deal." As he takes the map, Neron whispers to him, "It's not over, Clark. I know the secret anger that you hide." They use the Dark Roads and they find the shadows of the multiverse the Waller has cut them off from. And Z tells Clark that a multiverse of heroes could easily turn the tide of war in an instant. And Clark is concerned about her, as using the map of the Dark Roads is really starting to take its toll on her. She's not looking good. It's draining her spirit, pulling from her very life force. He tells her that if he'd known the cost, he would never have struck the bargain for the map. But she snaps it in, telling him the sacrifice is worth the pain. She needs magic back in her life. That's pretty much all she has. Waller didn't just take her powers. She pretty much took her entire life.
Wow.
They find the House of the Heroes in the alternate world, merging with a heroic female, Dr. Light, who informs them that Amanda Waller is one step ahead, as we recently saw in the Task Force 7 miniseries. And to stop travel between worlds, she's inserted one of her agents. And for a second, I thought it was Failsafe. And I was like, oh my God, we're going to have Failsafe go up against the depowered Batsuit. No, it's not.
Oh,
it's someone called Confusion with a K, who looks very similar to Failsafe. Well, he looked like a Batman robot sort of thing. Apparently, he's an unholy amalgamation of Batman and Superman from a previous crossover that I wasn't unfortunately privy to read. So as Superman and Confusion start to battle, the House of Heroes crumbles and starts to collapse around them. Confusion's hit by the wreckage as it falls, allowing Superman and a weakening Zatanna to flee back to the Dark Roads. Once there, Superman says if they use the map, they can trap Confusion there forever. But Z tells him she can't. She's got nothing left. So Clark tells her, we'll do it together, taking hold of it with her. And he finally faces his age-old fear, gives himself over to the magic map that's been calling to him, and they use the Dark Roads to return to the decimated Fortress of Solitude, reuniting with his wife Lois Lane, Mercy Graves, and Jimmy Olsen, and a mind-wiped Lex Luthor and his daughter Lana, who are all waiting for them there. The issue ends as Clark embraces his wife, grinning, "I love magic." And it's to be continued in Absolute Power issue 4, which is the finale of the miniseries.
Oh.
But wait, there's one final page, and we see a familiar fist punching a wall again and again and again, bloodying his fist, letting out a primal, guttural yell. Oh, you're damn right, it's Doomsday. It's Doomsday. And he's back in the very next issue of Superman.
Wow.
So, yeah.
You're enjoying it, right? Thumbs up?
Very much so. This was a great issue and a really good little tie-in to Absolute Power.
Excellent. Moving on. Batman, The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween 0 from DC. Jeff Loeb with art by one of my all-time favourites, the late great Mr. Tim Sale. Very, very sad to hear the news a couple of years ago when he passed. A good friend of mine, Ian Churchill, knew him quite well as well, so we were all very sad. What he has left us with is some beautiful, beautiful stories, which we're going to get into right now. So, the Long Halloween franchise is back with a prologue to The Last Halloween. Now, remember, these stories are set sort of early on in the Batman timeline.
Like year 3 or something.
Yeah, something like that. I always thought it was like year 3 or 4, because they kind of follow on really nicely from, all the other stuff. Okay, definitely. Nantucket, Massachusetts. 3 weeks before Halloween, at the Squire Institute for the Criminally Insane, a woman escapes. We jump 2 weeks before Halloween. Batman interrupts a robbery at Wilson's jewelry store in Gotham. And that's the same jeweler that Bruce Wayne's mother's infamous pearl necklace was bought from. Anyway, it's May and June. Two of Julian Day, the Calendar Man's goons, break it into the big safe, right? They look like cult members with shaved heads and a specific month, written around their heads. So Batman beats the living hell out of them. He's not messing about because he wants to know, where is the Calendar Man? Where is the Calendar Man? I don't know. Batman wants to know. Batman is pissed. And he's worked out that Julian Day, a criminal known for working alone, is enlisting other goons to carry out his criminal plans in his series of seemingly random gemstone thefts. However, nothing is random with the Calendar Man. He's only stealing specific gems, birthstones in fact, which are gemstones that correspond to specific months, like a calendar. Oh, ingenious. Anyway, after subduing the goons, Batman asks them where the Calendar Man is, but then they're not talking, so he closes the safe door, locking them in with him, and then we cut. It's great. I loved it. I love that implied brutal Batman. Anyway, the goons didn't talk. Later on, Batman discusses Calendar Man's motivations with Commissioner Gordon. He believes Calendar Man is haunted by the fame of the Holiday Killer, right? He's haunted by that fame, how that took away Calendar Man's infamy, popularity as a killer. I don't know. And that's all been running through the previous volumes of this whole Halloween Dark Victory. And he just doesn't want to be forgotten. So it's like an ego thing. Jim also expresses he misses Harvey Dent because he was part of their little crime fighting trio. But Batman tells him not to. He's fucked off, basically, right? Harvey Dent was his friend, almost revealed his true identity to him. But he believes that Harvey is Two-Face now, always was Two-Face, and everything that went on just brought his true personality to the surface. Before Gordon can finish chit-chatting away, he also asks if Barbara, his niece Barbara, can go trick-or-treating with Robin. Batman, in his usual manner, by that point, has vanished into the ether like he does. 1 week before Halloween, Solomon Grundy is in the sewers guarding a doorway to a Gotham Electricity office room. Inside the room is Two-Face and Gilda, that's his wife. Now, they haven't seen each other for a year, and he embraces her as Harvey, right? And then after the embrace, Two-Face asks her why she should even come back after all these years, after what he's become. She's like, look at me. She still loves him. She doesn't give a fuck. That's true love. So anyway, we jump to the Batcave. Batman's trying to work out exactly what Calendar Man is planning. He theorizes he will strike on Halloween. And Alfred suggests he involves Robin in the case, but Batman says no. Robin isn't ready. He's reluctant, right? As Robin looks on from the shadows, feeling all dejected, longing to be part of that dynamic duo. Now, while this is all going on, we jump to Crime Alley, where, in an abandoned church, Calendar Man's disciples are all assembled, including May and June from earlier, who he beat the snot out of. They're out on bail, as they do nowadays. And they're receiving a sermon from none other than Julian Day, the Calendar Man. Now, he has them reciting the 30 Days Have September rhyme. You know the one? 30 Days Have September, April, you got taught as a kid, to remember the days. Anyways, after recital, Calendar Man point blank shoots May and June in the face, killing them, saying, "Why did I think two heads were better than one? Particularly when we all know there exists a true Gemini in Gotham City." Obviously referring to Two-Face. Halloween night. Julian Day, it's a long issue, but it's worth it. Julian Day is on the loose as Two-Face. Julian Day is still on the loose, and Two-Face and Gilda are having dinner in their old home, which Harvey recently reacquired. But that bliss is interrupted by the doorbell. Probably trick-or-treaters, right? Nope, it's Calendar Man and his goons. Anyway, he comes in, Gilda faints, and then we jump to Jim Gordon's home as he's rushing out of the house, calling for his niece to hurry up to find Batman and Robin standing in the front yard. He's brought Robin to go trick-or-treating with Barbara, who appears dressed as Batwoman, Batgirl in the background. So, hello. So he did hear, he does care. They're friends now. Anyway, we jump back to the Gotham skyline to witness the Bat single, except half of it has been smashed. Guess who's calling? You got it.
Yeah.
It's Two-Face. Right, so he's sitting on the top of the GCPD rooftop and he needs Batman's help. The Calendar Man has kidnapped Gilda and given Two-Face until midnight to join his cult, but he wants nothing to do with it. And he offers to cut any deal that Batman wants to get her back, which I thought was, a bit of double crossing might come in here. See what I did there? Double. Anyway, okay. A decision he made by flipping a coin, which he did twice, and both times it came back in Batman's favour, so he's here. They cut a deal, but it has to be on Batman's terms. He wants Calendar Man alive, and Two-Face promises not to kill him. I don't believe him. Batman, being the world's greatest detective, asks Harvey why would Calendar Man take his wife in the first place? Two-Face isn't sure, and he theorises it might be insurance policy to prevent Two-Face from double-crossing him. Batman thinks Calendar Man would have already thought about this and would know that, Two-Face is going to double-cross him, right? He's called Two-Face. And maybe it's Gilda he wants. Batman asks him why would Calendar Man want his wife? And Two-Face flips his coin, and we jump back to Robin and Barbara. They're out and about, trick-or-treating. When they see this giant bat signal that's all been smashed up in the sky, Robin races off, leaving Babs and Gordon in the yard. She didn't get to go trick-or-treating. Treating. I feel sorry for her. Okay, it really is a long issue. Sorry about the review. Next, we are in a church, confessional box, and Gilda is bound and gagged as Calendar Man playing the priest holding the .22 caliber pistol with a little dummy on the end, which is the weapon and method used by the Holiday Killer in the previous volumes. So it harks back to that. It's really nice. Something sort of black and white with a slight bit of colour feel to it. He sounded at Harvey Dent as the DA back then, took his freedom from him, took away his special little criminal niche, and he uses the gun to break through the privacy window and places it point blank at Gilda's head as Harvey bursts into the church, dressed as one of the Calendar Man's goons in the robes, with May and June written around his head, demanding his wife back. He agrees to return his wife, but he needs something in return. We quickly move to the Gotham Museum, where the world's rarest birthstone, the Messiah Red Diamond, which is on loan by Thomas and Martha Wayne, special collection, funnily enough. And that's there, ready to be stolen, I guess. So Calendar Man, Two-Face, some armed goons, they're attempting to steal it, but Robin, right, he's giving them a hard time. He's kicking the shit out of them. And after quickly dispatching them, Two-Face pulls off his mask, and underneath is the Batman. Calendar Man, all like, what the fuck? What's going on? I thought you were Harvey Dent. Calendar Man wants to know where Harvey Dent is. And we see Harvey and Solomon, they're back at the church, clearing up the rest of the goons, and rescuing his wife. So Harvey kills one of the goons, right? Batman doesn't like killing people, but he kills one of the goons, frees his wife. And as they do that, Solomon notices that there's a stick of dynamite, time bomb, ticking. He heroically grabs it and he jumps outside and it explodes. Back to Bats and Calendar Man, who happens to shoot Batman in the Bat logo 5 times. Pop, 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 pop. But lucky for Bats, he took Alfred's advice, of course, and wore a bulletproof vest. Shortly after the gunshots, Batman mercilessly beats Calendar Man unconscious, kicks the living shit out of him. And then we're back at the church again with Batman and Robin as they survey the damaged Jim Gordon. All the goons are pretty much dead now because they set fire to the place, and Two-Face is nowhere to be seen. Right, so as part of his deal, he was supposed to hand himself in, but of course he didn't do it. So he's fucked off with his wife somewhere, presumably to return later on in this series. So the issue ends, however, with Two-Face rowing a small boat out of the sewers with Gilda into the sea as Batman and Gordon talk at the bat signal, warning that Two-Face and Gilda have a secret and that trouble isn't over yet. So double-size issue, double-size review, double-size joy every single page with Tim's art. Absolutely beautiful. Great story. And I think a really, really, really good start to what I guess is going to be the final volume of the Long Halloween. 100% recommend it. It is really good. Whew. Big books this week, Jim. Another one here.
Huge books.
In name big as well. Huge Detective. I was going to pick this up first issue, but for some reason I didn't get it in time. So I'm eager to hear how this one's turning out.
Yeah, Huge Detective, issue 2, published by Titan Books, and quite aptly
Indeed.
written by Adam Rose with art by Magenta King and cover art by Pedro Kobiako. So, Huge Detective is set in the aftermath of a giant uprising and war against the humans who dwelled above them.
A
It's referred
literal
to in the
giant
book.
uprising, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's referred to in the book as the Omega event. A treaty was signed, and basically they gave the continent of Australasia over to the giants,
Oh,
and it's
wow.
been renamed the state of Brobdingnag. Brobdingnag, yeah. Um, so now humans and giants can live peacefully together. And against this backdrop, we follow a pair of detectives, Giant, Gyant, and Tamaki, as they investigate a case of baffling disappearances. Now, this is, you might have imagined, it's a mashup between stuff like Mindhunter or Silence of the Lambs and Rod Dahl's The BFG, pretty much. It's really, really cool stuff. So in the last issue, Detective Tamaki and a new huge partner, because they're referred to as huge, um, Giant, became the director of sorry, they became the object of media interest, as Giant is the first huge ever to set foot on human soil since the events of the Omega event. Tamaki also visited with the prison inmate Manny. He claims knowledge of human clothes found at a crime scene. The twist being that this inmate is a human who believes that he is a huge. So she has to play along with him, and he has to pretend like he's a giant. So that was an interesting little wrinkle, I thought. And we've learned that as well as two missing humans, two huge have also gone missing from Brobdingnag. And huge rarely ever speak out loud, preferring to converse psychically with each other. But Giant's the exception to this rule as he talks to his partner. Now, Giant is investigating the cave that Manny described in his vision, while Manny seemingly drowned himself in his cell, with Tamaki looking on helplessly. And also on the moon, something erupted from the surface. That was
Okay.
how the first issue ended. So this issue begins with prison officials stepping in at Tamaki's insistence, um, stopping Manny's drowning attempt, with Tamaki saving his life using mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Manny explains that if he submerges his head in water, he can put himself back at the crime scene. Meanwhile, Giant is swimming through the cave. Manny says, where they found the dead girl, the bobblehead showed me where they kept them. Don't move him. And sure enough, a bit further into the submerged cave, Giant finds a giant bobblehead next to a poster that says, ho, 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 kill giants. A TV report blazes into life on Tamaki's phone in the prison, and we learn that the eruption on the moon's surface last issue was caused by the skeletal remains of a huge being dislodged by a moonquake. NASA announces that the huge fossil's orbit is deteriorating. As Manny chimes in, they didn't all start here, you know. Then it filters through the United States military is considering using nuclear deterrence to halt the fossil's trajectory. And back in the cave, Giant's inner monologue tells us the air smells like the bone pits of Brobdingnag, like marrow and gore. And he hears music next to the bobblehead. He finds a gramophone, a record player. Noting to himself that Tamaki won't like him destroying evidence because he accidentally destroys it because he's huge
So
and
big.
clumsy. And he finds a message carved in human writing, but huge human writing. Go deeper. Then he's attacked by a dog who's in the cave, who bites him, and he reactively swats the dog like a fly, crushing it, not realizing his own strength, but immediately regretting his actions and scolding himself. Again, Tamaki's not going to like that. And then he finds two human corpses at the back of the cave, as well as a bloodied huge's tooth. So we cut back to New York, and we learned via the news that a married couple hiking on their honeymoon have been missing now for 10 days.
Oh.
Tamaki is sitting in her car using the CB radio to talk to her friend Melissa, while outside the preparations are being made to feed Giant, because I guess that's part of his deal with the humans. Gigantic pancakes and a kiddie pool filled with maple syrup are being prepared. And we learn that during the Amiga event on Seattle, Tamaki's mother was killed by the Huge. So that was something we didn't know in the first issue. The issue ends with the Huge's skeleton that's orbiting Earth is about to crash into a communications satellite. Now, I'm always looking for something new in books or something that hasn't been done before. And I think this measures up to that
Sounds
criteria.
amazing, Jim.
I can't wait to keep reading this book.
I'm going to
It's
definitely pick it
yeah,
up for sure now.
it's definitely worth reading.
Amazing. So thumbs up.
Oh yeah, definitely.
100%. Moving on to the power fantasy. So Kieron Gillen is back with his create-your-own stuff from Midge. Art by Caspar Wijngaard. So number one of this series was my book of the month. So I was very, very eager to get my hands on issue 2. I'll give you a quick recap. So the power fantasy is set in a world where 6 extremely powerful super beings, Etienne, Magnus, Valentia, Heavy, Eliza, and Masumi, have effectively become guardians of the world. They call themselves the Family. They communicate telepathically and believe their actions are ethical, and they believe that they are always guided by ethics to keep governments from destroying the world with nuclear weapons, as well as keeping the atomics, which is powered people, in check too. So, issue 1, Etienne Lux, he's the brainchild of this world-changing ideology and super genius, reveals himself to be just as ruthless as he is intelligent when the government attempts to kill a fellow super being and family member, Heavy. In order to prevent the far more destructive revenge Heavy has in mind, he agrees to mete out punishment, which consists of murdering the president, the staff behind the attack, and in fact, anyone in government who knew about the plan, and all their family members. And Etienne does this instantly, without remorse, using the power of his mind like it was nothing. He tells Heavy that's the end of it, right? Justice has been meted out, and warns him to drop it, or else he'll kill everyone in Haven, which is Heavy's home. He's set up this own sort of utopia. So you need to know that before going into issue 2, which kicks off with a flashback to 1969 Detroit. At an atomics, like I said, that's what they call anyone with powers. An atomics versus atomic power demonstration. Heavy is on stage and falls an assassination attempt by vaporizing this would-be assassin. And then we transition to 1999 New York, where the news is playing that archival footage due to the recent events of Heavy. The news is reporting that this was the latest attempt by many to kill Raymond Heavy Harris, and that the unexplained death of the president and hundreds of others are presumed to be at the hands of Etienne, who just appears on camera and tells the world, it was me, I did do it, but I did it to prevent a worse fate. And he also advises that, you know what, or rather warns, you're going to be angry, but don't turn it into violent action. So he's pretty much saying, population of the world, fucking deal with it, or else, in a very nice tone. So later on, we were in a police interview room with fellow lower level atomic, Tonya, right? She's cuffed to the table being questioned by officers. They're wearing psi alarms for protection, which we later learn are fake. As Etienne walks in, right, into the cell, says sorry he's late, basically, and everyone in the police station, everywhere, they just freeze. Not like frozen in ice, but they're just like suspended. And they just calmly walk out, having a conversation, fugitives from the law. They discussed also that the stroke rate in police officers who have had brutality complaints against them might be down to one of the other atomics, but they're not sure yet. Anyway, Heavy has agreed to allow Tonya into Haven, his home, because she's a fugitive now. So he's going to give her, sanctuary. So we then jump to Tokyo, where one of the atomic family, one of the big 6, Masumi, is getting ready for an art show where she's displaying some paintings. Etienne is coming to this art show. And in order to not be detected, he's tweaked people's minds so that they see someone else instead. However, she can't understand, how he could have killed so many people. It doesn't sit well with her. And even after he assures her it was the lesser of two evils, she's still not very happy about it. She's got very huge conscience. So anyway, now back in Haven, Tonya and Heavy discuss the recent events, and Heavy seems to be slightly remorseful, which I didn't expect, which is nice. It shows that he's just not a one-dimensional character, right? But this conversation is cut short as he's called for family time. So there's a big meeting of the family, which is, the atomics who are super powerful. And Tonya isn't invited. She's not invited yet. She's new. We're then introduced to this meeting at the pyramid. It's not a pyramid. It's just this like place where Atomic family members Magnus, Valentia, and Eliza are meeting. Right now, the pyramid shields them from Etienne's mind, so he can't like find out what they're talking about. And they discuss Etienne's growing power. And Magnus is like increasingly paranoid that Etienne will one day take over his mind, which is partly why he's built this, to try and prevent him from being like, controlled. Needless to say, Magnus and Liza do not like Etienne at all. And it seems like they are planning to go against him at some point. Back in Haven, we see Heavy with his assembled atomics, the people of Haven. They are a big part of this meeting, which is being like broadcast by this huge sci-fi device, sort of like huge like Apple speaker type thing. And as Magnus asks, when is the right time to do something about the problem? Heavy replies, soon, as he chucks a can of beer to someone entering off panel. It's Heavy's son. And that's where it ends. So Heavy, who's playing nice with Etienne, is actually part of this plan to maybe take Etienne on. So it's super, super good. Wijngaard's art elevates an already exceptional story. It's got everything. Super beings done differently, political intrigue, exceptional characters, thrills and suspense. I can't recommend it enough. Issue 1 was amazing. Issue 2 was just as amazing. This is one of those books, again, I think it's gonna go down as one of those books everyone has to read. I loved it, 100%. So, it's been a good week for me so far. Let's move on to something that you've been looking forward to.
Oh, hell yes.
The moon is following us. So, give us the lowdown, Jimbo.
Yeah, well, anyone who watches the show know that I love the Transformers book that Skybound and Image are doing with Daniel Warren Johnson, and this is his brand new Create Your Own title that he's releasing. So here we go. So the moon is following us, issue 1, published by Image and Skybound, written by Daniel Warren Johnson, with art by Riley Rossimo, but also Daniel Warren Johnson, and cover art by Riley Rossimo. Now, this is a story about a mother and father fighting to save their young daughter from the forces of the Cascade. And it's not entirely clear what's going on at first. We see married couple Samantha and Duncan, and they're getting ready to sneak into a fortress video game style. Riley Rossimo's beautiful fantasy cartoon artwork really pops with the colours by Transformers colorist Mike Spicer. And the couple are accompanied by a toad wearing a crown and an eye patch, and he's known as Brio. And he's escorted them this far and promises to meet them after at the rendezvous point. As they travel, Sam and Duncan bicker while fighting grotesque Cascade soldiers. With Sam, she revels in the violence. With Duncan prefers stealth tactics. After vanquishing the foot soldiers, they meet up with a dwarf-esque magic user called Tash, who takes them to meet the bat-like traveling merchant Pigface. Now, if you played any RPGs, you know what a traveling merchant's like. Tash asks them if they're prepared for what it's going to cost them, mentioning it's not exactly pain, it's more of a taxing of the mind and body and a heavy mess that does not lift. Duncan replies, anything for Penny. As they meet the merchant, they apologize that it took a while to get there, and Pigface tells them that he has many clients and he must be ready to leave this world at a moment's notice. If the Cascade catch me, I won't be able to share my toys with you. He opens his cloak and he reveals that he's completely tooled up with all manner of swords, guns, and other things that you'd expect. He offers the couple a few more exclusive items, a glowing cube, saying you probably can't handle that. And they agree to pay the price for it. So Pigface opens his cloak again once more, and he reveals these huge fleshy tendrils that seem to drain the life force out of Sam and Duncan. And then we see a flashback, and the art style shifts to Daniel Warren Johnson's. A little girl standing on the bridge at night saying, "Daddy, the moon is following us." End of flashback. We see the tendrils complete the transaction, and both of the couple are vomiting, with Pigface telling Tash they'll be fine after a few days. Stop worrying. He sniffs the air and says, "We can find out. I'd run if I were you." And all hell just breaks loose. All manner of strange and grotesque beings flood the city of Dell. Tash uses the magic to disguise the three as part of the brickwork. It's like a brick wall, allowing Dunk to grab a lone guard who spotted them, like in Metal Gear Solid. Sam urges him to quickly take him out before he gives us away, but her husband hesitates, not being comfortable with taking the life. But then the guard lets out an ear-shattering shriek, alerting all the other guards, and then Sam, just without a thought, beheads him
Nice.
mercilessly. She's then peppered with arrows and really badly wounded as the horde closes in on them. So then Tash uses the cube that they bargained for to create a helicopter, of all things. While Sam protests they were saving the cube as currency to help save Penny. Tash bluntly tells her that you're no use to Penny dead. And Duncan pilots him to the rendezvous point where Brio is waiting. He's waiting with a red Volkswagen Beetle that's topped with anti-aircraft guns.
Of course it is.
To take out the airborne guns the airborne guards that are tailing them. Tash tells Dunk Samantha's pulse is very weak. You need to get her home right now. And he protests, saying maybe the doctors can help. But Tash reminds him that the doctor's tools won't work on her. The weapons of the Cascade don't cut like they do where you're from. Duncan is completely gutted by this news, saying, we were so close. We were going to rescue her tomorrow. And Tash silences him. Just go back. Tend to her wounds. I'll see you both back here when you're ready. Duncan sighs and heroically carries his injured wife through what looks like a portal gate. And then they both wake up next to each other in their bed, masked up, connected to what looks like VR headsets, and with power couplings trailing all the way out of their bedroom down the hallway. And the artist switched to Daniel Warren Johnson's artwork again. Sam asks her why he took her back, and Duncan says that she needs rest and she was in danger of never coming back at all. They go downstairs and they put on a pot of coffee and they reminisce about the birth of their daughter, reminiscing about the day that she was born and the second-degree tear that she caused to her mother because she was so big. In the last page, they reveal that they enter Penny's bedroom and she's sleeping in bed connected to the same sort of cables and tech that her parents were using. Sam says he's been sleeping now for 6 months. Are we going to be able to do this? Duncan answers, we've built up forces, spent our time gathering weapons, and we've fought tooth and nail, all inside her dreams. We've got to keep going to save our baby girl. We're going to wake her.
Oh, so is she like in a coma and they're going in to bring her out?
Seriously, that reveal,
cool.
Because when I first started reading it, I was like, hey, this is cool, but I've got no idea. I've been dropped right into the start of this heist sort of situation. And the fact that it's all in a, absolutely brilliant. So Daniel Warren Johnson continues to be a fantastic writer.
They're saying your boy didn't let you down, did he?
Yeah, this was a really hard to get hold of book. My local comic book shop managed to get me a copy. The complete first printing is sold out everywhere.
Shout them out.
Kishti Comics in Basingstoke. Absolutely brilliant.
So if you're in the UK, head down to Kishti Comics in Basingstoke. Amazing. So you love it?
Yes, it's absolutely fantastic book.
Awesome.
And I can't wait for the second issue, which is coming next month.
Amazing. Right. The Tin Can Society #1 from Image and Giant Generator. Written by Peter Warren and art by Francesco Mobili. It's a 9-issue miniseries. You giggled when I introduced this book.
Oh, I loved it.
Oh, you've already read it? Okay, don't need to review it then.
Oh, man.
No, okay, I'll go for it. Right. Okay, so page 1. Excuse me. The lauded and beloved superhero Caliburn lies dead on the floor, legs broken, skull caved in with his armor missing. It's a brutal murder scene. One photographer, Cassia, has bribed a cop to witness so she can photograph it because that's her job. She discovers that they managed to defeat Caliburn by hiding a huge electromagnet under the floorboards to pin him to the floor, rendering him defenseless so they could beat him to death. Turns out Caliburn is Johnny Moore, man of the millennium, Nobel Prize winning world famous tech mogul known for his work pioneering mobility aids for people with disabilities, as well as being a superhero. So he's like the ultimate dude, right? He's perfect. More than that, he was Cassia's friend since childhood. And also, it's important to add that this armor and the modifications of all the tech enabled him to walk and fight criminals. So, we flash back to when they first met at school. Johnny is not a well child. He has spina bifida. Excuse me. Can only eat soft foods. Otherwise, it fucks with him and he pukes up and it's probably kill him. and he can only walk with the aid of like leg braces and walking sticks. After almost choking the cafeteria at school, he's saved by Adam, Cassia, Greg, and Val, and they become fast friends. The type of friends that last a lifetime and consume your world when you're young. He takes them out to a little field where they dig up this tin can, he said, and full of items his parents wouldn't let him have, and for good reason, such as candy bars, batteries, choking hazards, just stuff that someone who suffers from spina bifida and all the other issues he has, shouldn't have. And they christen their little friendship group as the Tin Can Society. Hence the title of the book. Right, back to present day. Cassia is devastated and decides to visit the now adult members of the Tin Can Society to find out what they know and let them know that the funeral will be on Friday. Adam is now a construction company owner. Val is a teacher at their old school. And Greg, who visits her, was Caliburn's crime-fighting sidekick, who also has a suit of armour. As they talk, ominously, outside, we see this suit of armour on the rooftop looking down at them. Now, first I thought he parked the armour there. But I thought, maybe this is the person that's stolen the armour. So, interesting there. Anyway, they all attend the funeral, which is spectated by thousands of gathered fans, as Cassia's inner monologue informs us that she believes the murder is fact, down to one of them. So, stunning cover by Chris Chuckery. That lured me in. Beautiful interior art by Francesco Mobili. Made this book incredibly easy to read, especially as the script by Peter Warren never missed a beat. It's brilliant. I think he's actually a screenwriter, and this is his first comic book work, right? Exceptional.
Good
Every
debut.
page brilliant, flawless, absolutely loved it. I recommend it. And you know what? Because I made the Power Fantasy Book of the Month the other week, I'm going to make this Book of the Month because it deserves that number one slot. Although the Power Fantasy is like just they're fighting. They're just both so good. But this one, Book of the Week. Jimbo, what's your Book of the Week?
My book of the week is unsurprisingly The Moon is Following Us, issue 1.
Yeah.
Well done, Daniel
You are
Warren
a
Johnson.
fully paid up member of the Warren fan club, right? Okay, looking ahead to now this week, in fact, today, coming out. What are you looking forward to?
Absolute Power Task Force 7, issue 7, the finale of that little mini-series.
Excellent.
And also Gatchaman's Uncanny X-Men issue 3.
Of course, you are the ex-office of the Kovacs report. Batman on Halloween's out. Gatchaman Galactor 3's out. Ultimate Spider-Man's out. Zatanna's out. What's that?
That's Eduardo Riso, isn't it, on that issue?
Of Ultimate Spider-Man?
No, of Batman.
Oh, sorry. I don't know. I would imagine...
No, it is, yeah. It's Eduardo Riso from 100 books.
I did a media blackout with the book, with my favourite books, so I don't ruin them before I get there. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I'm not trying to ruin anything.
No, it's not ruining it. I'm just saying why I haven't discovered it. Okay, cool.
Each issue is going to be drawn by one of Sale's friends and admirers. So,
right. Well, that just goes to show that I have avoided all this because I wanted it to be perfect. There's a couple of other ones out there, One for Sorrow and Violent Flowers, which I might look at as well. So that's it for the week. Sorry again that we were late, but it couldn't be avoided.
We'll be back soon.
Yeah, we'll be back in a couple of days. See you soon. Take care. Say goodbye, Jim.